Hey everybody, and welcome back to the garage. I bought myself a new Craftsman Planer. Let's unbox this thing, put it through its paces, and see if I wasted my money. A long time ago, I was told, buy the tools you need when you need them, and charge the customer if you can. Well, I'm working on a project for myself, so I guess I'm footing the bill on this one. Searching on Craigslist a while back, I found some really nice rough-sawn white oak slabs, and I thought they'd make a really nice tabletop for my new entertainment center. So it looks like I need a joiner and a thickness planer. I found a joiner on Craigslist. I showed that off in my last cutting board video, but I couldn't find a good deal on a used planer, so I had to go out and buy a new one. I know, real problem, right? And here it is. I picked the new Craftsman because it was $299 at Lowe's. I know, everybody wants the fancy DeWalt or the Grizzly planer that can mill an entire tree into a perfect dimensional log, but then I saw this Craftsman one for half the price of a DeWalt. I just couldn't pass it up. I mean, it's a deal, right? Not like this kind of thing's going to come back to haunt me, right? Another thing. I have a soft spot in my heart for Craftsman tools. My dad used them, my granddad used them. I even have an older Craftsman bandsaw that's close to 30 years old. That thing still works great. I'm willing to give this newer generation of Craftsman tools a chance. Here's a couple specs. This thing's heavy. It's about 45 pounds. It's rated for 15 amps and has two blades that spin at 8,000 RPM and can accommodate a 12 1/4 inch wide board. The planer comes with a small assortment of tools. A 5mm hex wrench is included, but I didn't need it. But I did need a Phillips screwdriver to adjust the in-feed and out-feed tables. More on that little adventure in a bit. Looks like the first thing I need to do is put on the handle up here. So we got to get that foam block out. Attaching the dust chute. Looks like it just goes on with these little thumb screws. There's a bit of a foam backing on here, so you kind of got to press that in a little bit. And put this well, that's a little bit weak right there. You ought to have like a little pin to hold that in there or something. But there's a little Velcro thing right here where you can put the blade, little insertion thing, and looks like there's a little tool holder right here for this guy. What about this one? I was checking to see if the infeed and the outfeed beds are set up right and found the bed angle adjustment nut had to be lowered slightly. This caused the end of the outfeed edge to be significantly lower than the infeed table. I'm going to adjust these so the planer bed will be angled up slightly at the very far edge. Looks like there are just 4 screws right here where you just loosen these guys up a little bit. I'm going to only loosen the ones in the back. See if that does anything. Just a little bit of a bump upward from here, using the level to try and find out if it's level, and then tightening it back down seemed to work out. My first test piece is an offcut from the maple cutting board. It's a bit of a workout for this little thing, but I wanted to see if it can handle it. At first glance, it did great. I took a light pass at first and it looked real smooth. Let's try another piece. Great finish, but a significant snipe line on the end. Let's see if we can adjust the beds a little bit more and fix it. After about 2 hours of adjusting the in-feed and out-feed tables, I'm going to admit defeat here and just make my own. I made a quick trip to the local depot and bought a piece of melamine and used a couple of cedar offcuts for legs. While I was at it, I also added my 4-inch magnetic coupler to my dust collector. The coupler is from Magport. It's not sponsored, but it's a great product. I use them on my table saw. They're super easy to move from tool to tool, especially useful in a small shop like mine. Well, after I added the shop-made in-feed bed table, things are going great. I was milling down a bunch more of my white oak lumber to a rough thickness. Then the motor began to slow down and smell like burning plastic. I was only taking off no more than 1/16 of an inch on every pass. I turned the planer off for about 30 minutes to let it air out and cool down. I inspected what I could without taking it apart and everything looked fine. When I started it back up again though, the motor began to make a loud buzzing sound and popped a breaker in my garage. So I packed it back up and got my money back from Lowe's. After dealing with the Craftsman Planer, I found this 25-year-old beauty on the internet. It's a Delta 22540 that was recently refurbished by its previous owner. He threw in 2 sets of blades, the original dust chute, steel in-feed and out-feed tables, and even threw in his homemade planer table. I got all of this for $180. Here's a couple of clips of me milling up that rough white oak. So, do I think I got ripped off? Well, no, but I am disappointed at the performance of the planer. Obviously, I got a bad one. Something went wrong, and I think this one just died. The fit and finish was great for a planer at this cost level. Not too heavy, runs off of 120 wall power, takes a 4-inch dust collector, no issues with any of that. Occasionally I find deals on rough lumber and I need a workhorse of a planer to get my projects off the ground. I think I'm going to be happy with this older Delta planer. Thanks for watching.